All right. So if you guys remember, I ended up talking about Game Pass the other day. All right. I talked about Game Pass and how apparently Asha Sharma, there was like a leaked email of some kind that was essentially saying that she believes that Game Pass is too expensive. Now, after seeing the story that's happening today, I got to be honest with you, I truly believe that they leaked that shit themselves because they wanted to gauge the overall like community sentiment before they actually announced whatever they wanted to do. I really believe that they're doing that now for a lot of companies, by the way. But anyway, that's besides the point. So she ended up having an internal email leaked where she was saying that she believes Xbox Game Pass is too expensive and they need to provide value to the service again. Okay. Well, apparently she has now followed through with that. And hey, listen, props to her. Again, you want to give her all the credit. You want to give her a little bit of credit. Maybe this was planned beforehand. Maybe they wanted to have a new face before they did it. Maybe they're trying to prop her up. Whatever. At the end of the day, whatever she's talking about, she's actually delivering on so far. And today, she made this post announcing the following. Game Pass Ultimate has become too expensive for too many players, she says. Starting today, we're dropping the price from $29.99 to $22.99 a month. Now, listen, before I read the next sentence, I already knew this was coming, okay? I've said this on so many streams. I've said this on so many videos that this was inevitable. There is no way at $29.99 that Game Pass can actually be profitable. It wasn't even profitable beforehand at $22.99, even without Call of Duty. But there's no way at $29.99 that Call of Duty, that Game Pass can be profitable if they keep whoring out Call of Duty. It's impossible. There's no way. There's no way. So I said that the only way for this to happen, this whole rumor about dropping the price, the only way that's going to happen is if they get rid of Call of Duty. And lo and behold, here we are today. She says future Call of Duty titles will no longer join Game Pass Ultimate on day one. They will join this tier the following holiday after launch, about 1 year later. So Call of Duty video games are about to be not day one games. They're about to be 1 year later games on Game Pass. So now you are no longer going to be able to get Call of Duty day one on Game Pass, and you're going to have to pay for the service. You're going to have to pay for the game. I'm sorry. Current Call of Duty titles will, in fact, remain available to Ultimate subscribers. We'll keep learning and evolving Game Pass to better match what matters to players. Now, here's the thing, man. I know people are angry about this. I don't know why. And the reason why I say I do know why. Because when emotions are evolved, people don't want to look at the just the logistics and the making sense of it all. But it's also a thing where you got to rip off the Band-Aid. I said this so many times. You got to rip off the fucking Band-Aid, man. You have to rip off the Band-Aid. What I mean by that is, you know Call of Duty is too expensive to put on Game Pass. You just know it is. You fucked up. You fucked up big time with Black Ops 6, and you especially fucked up with Black Ops 7. You fucked up bad. So you know you messed up, and you're looking for any way to avoid telling fans that you messed up. But there is no way to avoid that. You have to rip off the Band-Aid. And that's exactly what they just did. They ripped off the Band-Aid and they said, all right, listen, we're pulling it out. That's it. We're pulling out Call of Duty. Call of Duty's gone. We can't do it anymore. But we're at least dropping the price of $22.99. Now, if you take the price difference, you times that by $12, I believe that comes out to a little over $80. That actually pays for Call of Duty in and of itself. So in theory, if you wanted to only buy Call of Duty and pay for Game Pass every year, you're technically still paying the $29.99, technically. If you want to be like real technical. I almost wonder if that's what they thought about when they came up with the new price, but whatever. I think fans would have been really happy at $19.99, but $22.99, whatever. In any case, people are not going to be happy, even if it was $19.99. They're going to be upset for whatever reason. You took away my Call of Duty. I wanted my Call of Duty. Now I got to go and buy Call of Duty again. People are going to be pissed. There is no winning in this scenario. Literally no winning. And that's their fault. It's Xbox's fault because they put themselves in this scenario. They've been whoring themselves out. They went the Epic Games route. They thought that the more games that they give away, the more people are going to use their service. That's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. There wasn't enough subscription increases by putting Call of Duty on Game Pass. There just wasn't. So they ended up losing so much money that this is essentially them admitting that it was a bad idea. Now, they'll never say that. They'll never openly admit that. I don't think anyway, but this is them saying that. Right? But you guys set yourself up for this. Now, before I read the comments, I want to read what is actually on the Xbox Wire website. Because apparently it's not just Game Pass Ultimate. It's also Game Pass on PC. Let's check this out and let's see what they got going on. There's a lot of changes going on right now with Game Pass. So if you look here, it says starting today, Game Pass Ultimate is going to drop from $29.99 to $22.99 a month. PC Game Pass will also drop from $16.49 to $13.99 a month. Prices may vary by region. Beginning this year, future Call of Duty titles won't join Game Pass Ultimate or PC Game Pass at launch. New Call of Duty games will be added to Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass during the following holiday season about a year later, while existing Call of Duty titles will already be in the library who will continue to be available. Game Pass Ultimate subscribers will continue to have access to hundreds of games on Xbox console and PC, including current Call of Duty titles, in-game benefits, online console multiplayer, unlimited Xbox cloud gaming, and major day one releases. You can find more details on Game Pass Ultimate, Game Pass Premium, Game Pass Essential, and PC Game Pass, etc., etc. So, can I be honest about what I think is happening here? So I think I predicted the first one pretty easily. I'm going to predict what's happening here. So in my opinion, what's happening here is that they've realized that they have cultivated a customer base that doesn't want to pay for anything. All right. They've cultivated a customer base that for their platform doesn't want to buy anything. They just want to use Game Pass, and that is it. That's what they did. Right. That's what we know they did. They turned their entire customer base into people that only want to pay for one subscription, and that's it. And that's their fault because that's what they wanted. So what I think they're going to do is they're going to utilize Call of Duty. They're going to rip that Band-Aid off. They're going to utilize Call of Duty as the beginning step into training their audience or their customer base to now start buying video games again. I really genuinely believe that. I think what they're going to do, or I think what we're going to see, is we're going to start seeing more and more games, high-profile games that cannot lose that kind of money on Game Pass. I think we're going to slowly but surely start seeing them pull away, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever. I think that we're going to start seeing them pull away little by little until they eventually feel like they're comfortable enough to have trained their customer base to not expect major day one game releases at launch. That's what I think is going to happen. Because if they do that, then they can start saving money on whoring out their video games. They can start getting sales again, or at least that's what they're thinking in their mind. They're basically trying to reverse, but slowly but surely, little by little. They cannot reverse too much too fast. If they do, I mean, look at how people are reacting to Call of Duty. Right? Look at how people are reacting to the fact of Call of Duty being removed from Game Pass. So imagine if you start seeing, oh yeah, you're not going to start seeing major day one releases anymore. They're going to do it slowly. So whatever games that they're willing to lose money on, or whatever games that are guaranteed to be hits even with Game Pass, because keep in mind, Game Pass doesn't kill all games. Game Pass just kills bad video games that people don't want to buy straight up. That's just what it is. Or live service video games that people don't want to pay for. That's what Game Pass does. Game Pass, unfortunately, giving those games away, like South of Midnight and stuff, nobody's going to buy that shit. So they don't care about giving it away. Then they can market players engaged and pretend like it's a massive success. They do it all the time with a lot of different video games. But games like Starfield, for example, as much as people don't like Starfield, I guarantee you Starfield would have been taken off of Game Pass if this was after the fact. If this was after the removal of Call of Duty. It would have been removed because those games sell like hotcakes. They just do. But that's the video games sell like hotcakes. Right? What's another major release? I can't think of one off the top of my head, but any major releases like that. Or Doom, for example. Right? Doom, the Dark Ages, didn't do anywhere near as good as Doom Eternal. Now, some people can say that's because of Game Pass. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think that's part of it, not all of it. But I think games like that will be pushed back 3 months, 6 months, or basically be pushed back to the point where they'll only show up on Game Pass after they've had their first discount cycle. Right? So if the game is full price, they're going to keep them off Game Pass. And then once the game starts having a discount cycle, then they're going to throw them up on Game Pass because at that point, it doesn't matter. right? The amount of money that you might be losing is not the same. But that's what I think is going on. And that's what I think they're going to try to do. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know. Time's going to tell, obviously. But I think that that's what they're going to absolutely do, or that's what they're going to be forced to do if they're going to want to turn this around. Because unfortunately for Xbox, or unfortunately for Asha Sharma, the people before her banked everything on Game Pass. Everything on Game Pass. They banked it all on Game Pass. That's why Call of Duty ended up on Game Pass in the first place. They literally banked everything on it. Now, unfortunately, that didn't work out. So now you have to figure out what the fuck you're going to do. And it's not an easy decision. It just isn't. Right? So let's look at the comments real quick. Let's see what people have to say. I guarantee you're going to have people who are going to be like, make Xbox games exclusive now. Bro, people are still trying to have a console war out here. In 2026, they're trying to have a console war. It's crazy shit. What do we got? Can you remaster Fallout 3? It's kind of crazy. You're doing exactly what I said needed to be done. It was day one of Game Pass. Microsoft titles have been driving the price up. Remove Fortnite crew and reduce everything further. This is part of the Xbox Ultimate. Oh, yeah. That's another thing. Can we talk about this? Brother, this whole combining of services nobody fucking wants, you guys need to stop that shit. This is what the streaming services do, where they combine a whole bunch of garbage services that nobody actually wants, and they combine it with the service that people actually do want. Get rid of Fortnite crew. Get rid of Ubisoft fucking classics. Nobody cares about that shit. Get rid of EA Play. Let them all be on their own. Let them figure out their own shit. If you get rid of all this shit, you could drop it to $19.99. Get rid of all this garbage, bro. Who wants this shit? Nobody fucking cares, bro, about this shit. Ubisoft Classics? You think anybody's using Ubisoft Classics? Very few people use it. They only use it if they get it for free for whatever reason. EA Play, same thing. No, bro, nobody cares. Epic Games has proven to us that giving games away for free doesn't increase sales in your third-party store. All it does is give you a trial that people then go to Steam to buy the full game for. Get rid of this shit. Lower your price even more. $19.99 or bust. I mean, they could have made it $19.99 if it wasn't for the bloat. That's a good start. Now remove Fortnite crew, drop it to $14.99, and we have a deal. I don't think it's gonna be $14.99. I think you're crazy. I think people have it, like, people don't realize how unprofitable Game Pass is. I gotta be real with you. Even taking away Call of Duty, I don't know if that's gonna save Call of Duty, because people have been trained for the last Call of Duty cycles to not buy Call of Duty, and people have already been buying it less. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 sold 1/3 of what Black Ops 6 sold, and that was already bad as it is. Black Ops 6 already sold bad as it was. Now you're gonna have Call of Duty Black Ops selling 1/3 of that. You think that people are just gonna come back? It's not gonna happen, man. It's not gonna happen, in my opinion. So, but yes, I agree. They need to drop the blow. So this new leadership can't stop giving W changes. Now, Asha, let's remove paid online multiplayer. Bro, you're bugging. You guys have been bending over on consoles for paid multiplayer for fucking like years, bro. You think they're going to get rid of that? Come on. What do you think? Your PC gaming? They're not going to get rid of that, bro. You know how much revenue they'll lose? Everybody only thinks about the small number that they're paying. They don't realize what their small number adds up to when you combine millions of people. Imagine if you remove everybody's paid online multiplayer. Bro, you know how much money they're going to lose? They're going to lose a disgusting amount of money. They're already not making money as it is. People need to understand that. Game Pass is not making money at $29.99, and it's not going to make money at $22.99. It's not going to happen. Asha Sharma says he became the new Xbox CEO. What the fuck? Oh, come on. Stop it. Stop it. This is progress for sure, but if I could also kindly request a family plan option, yeah, they're not going to do that. Need that family Game Pass now, or being able to use 2 different games on multiple Xboxes at the same time? They're not going to do that. They want to milk a already non-profitable service for as much as they can. This is a massive L. Oh, this should be interesting. Most people only sub to Ultimate for day one Call of Duty access. Okay, that's not true. I'm sorry, that's not true. Most people don't only sub to Ultimate for day one Call of Duty access. That's not true. Ultimate has had tens of millions of subscribers. So many people subscribe to Ultimate before Call of Duty. Call of Duty barely raised the amount of subscriptions for Ultimate. Ultimate was around before Call of Duty. It's going to be around after Call of Duty. That's fucking cope. If you think that Ultimate subscribers only cared about Call of Duty, you're insane. Scrapping that just to save a few bucks is a terrible move. $30 a month was already a steal for what you get. Are you an Xbox fanboy? Losing that immediate value makes the whole service feel way less ultimate. Are you an Xbox like super fan or something? What's going on? It's called price anchoring. Companies set an inflated original price first, so the smaller drop feels like a big favor. Even when the new price is still high, your brain uses that anchor as a reference point and thinks you're getting a deal. Classic marketing psychology. They might be doing that, but at the end of the day, they're not profitable even at $30. So dropping it to $22.99, it's not like they're fucking robbing you. What the fuck? It's not like they're robbing. Like they're not making money at $22.99. They're just not. This is not going to save the service, man. I want people to understand that. It's not going to save the service. They're going to have to go well above and beyond, past Call of Duty. They're going to have to go past removing Call of Duty in order to save the service from a financial standpoint. This is why I don't bother with subscription services. I understand like the allure. I get the idea, right? $20 a month, you get day one releases, whatever. Fine. I get the allure. But it gets messy. It gets messy really quick. Really, really quick. And then eventually what happens is costs go up. So because costs go up, now the subscription's going to go up. And once subscriptions go up, once it gets to a certain point, there's a threshold, right? With every subscription service, there's a threshold of what people are willing to accept and what they're not. Because people have a value in their mind. And once you're getting close to what video games cost, right? If you were to get to like $49.99, $59.99, once you get to that point, people are going to be like, yeah, no, it's not worth it. So you're forced to keep it below a certain threshold, even if your costs are going up, but then the video game prices are not going up. If the video game prices don't go up, then the subscription price is always going to look too high. So you got to keep it low, which means you're not making the money that you need to be making. And it's a loss. It's an absolute loss. Thanks so much for this. Game Pass is packed in 2026. It's packed, boys. It's packed. I will say a price decrease in 2026 is definitely shocking. It's shocking, but it's not like it's a price decrease, but then you keep everything. Like you're losing a major portion of it. You're losing a huge portion of it. So nice Xbox fanboys cheerlead the ABK acquisition so they can get COD day one on Game Pass. Now they're celebrating Microsoft removing it for up to a year while only paying slightly more than they were paying before the price hike. Masterful. That is pretty hilarious. There were a lot of Xbox people. They were cheering on the acquisition, right? They were cheering it on. They're like, yes, we're going to get Call of Duty day one Game Pass. We're better than all of you. And then now you don't get it. Oh, man. That's gotta suck. That's gotta suck. So anyway, I think at this point, I just want to reiterate that. I mean, we called this. We knew this was going to happen. We knew this was the only way that they were going to be able to even remotely think about dropping the price. Once that email came out, it was pretty obvious that the eventual removal of Call of Duty was going to happen. And people were denying it, bro. People were like, it's not going to happen. I had people in my comments that would attack the shit out of me. They would attack the shit out of me because I was like, hey, you may not like it, but if Game Pass is going to go down in price, that means Call of Duty is going bye-bye. And people didn't want to fucking accept it. They didn't want to accept it. It is what it is, bro. It's fucking business. It's business. If you want Call of Duty to stay on Game Pass, that shit would have had to go to $49.99 a month probably for Ultimate. I'm not even kidding. And even then, I don't know if it's going to be profitable, but maybe it might have been at that point. Or maybe a break even. But they obviously weren't going to do that. That was getting too close to the price of a video game. So they had to drop it. It was obvious. But hey, people don't want to live in reality, man. They want to think about whatever, makes them happy. But ultimately, that's just what's going on with Asha Sharma. I will say, good job lowering the price. Good luck ripping off the Band-Aid of Call of Duty from your Xbox fans. Hopefully, you can continue to deliver on what you're promising because Xbox fans deserve somebody who's actually going to deliver on what they promise. And so far, it's looking like she is. But of course, it always starts off good and then could end up pretty bad. So we'll see how that goes.